How would you like a 15% discount to my daily email, the stack of stuff, the show notes, discounts to the conference, all of that? All you need to do is text the word show to 33777. You'll get the annual subscription with a 15% discount to my daily email. You'll get the stack of stuff, the links to the show notes, discounts to the conference, and so much more. All you have to do is text the word show, SHOW, to 33777. Text show to 33777.
Welcome to the Eric Erickson Show podcast, Hour 2.
It appears the U.S. Embassy in Kuwait has been hit by an Iranian drone. No reports yet on casualties there. We will keep you up to date as this continues. It just, we've got a real war on our hands. Now, while this is happening, I want to give you a lay of the land here that you may not be paying attention to. We have now taken out Venezuela. We've now disrupted Iran. That undermines Chinese oil imports. The Chinese import all their oil and natural gas, and their primary import sources have been Venezuela and China and Iran. They now aren't. Meanwhile, the Cuban government has begun quiet negotiations with the United States over the future of Cuba. This is a major geopolitical play. We're watching the President of the United States realign pieces on a chessboard in real time, and I don't know that it's getting enough attention. Related to all of this, if you got the show notes today, you would see this piece in there. Text Eric to 33777. It's from a longtime friend of mine, Josh Trevino, one of the original founders of Red State. The headline is, Iran didn't adapt to America's playbook. Russia and China already have. Russia and China have already drawn significant lessons from Operation Epic Fury. Let me just read you some of this. There are significant differences between this regime change project and the ones that preceded it in Iraq and Afghanistan. First and foremost, there's no American occupation force in the offing. American aircraft with range across Iran at will. American soldiers will not. The president made it explicit in his address that he expects the people of Iran to overthrow their own regime, and there's reason to believe they will. The good news, if one wishes, is that those other models are not being followed. The bad news is that the most applicable precedent for regime change by air power alone is Libya, which did not turn out well. In the generation leading into World War I, mobilization as such became a casus belli. The threat of troops on railways and in position alone was sufficient to justify war, and it would be rational for America's enemies to draw a similar conclusion now. When American forces mass, an American attack usually follows. Preventing that massing is therefore both urgent and compelling. The other major lesson America's adversaries will draw is that American power projection is deeply reliant on free access to bases in allied nations. No American campaign at scale would be possible without land-based access. That was true even against Venezuela, and it's absolutely true against Iran. This is a key point that Josh makes, that access in the present case does not extend merely to Middle Eastern facilities in Israel, Jordan, and elsewhere. It extends to the network of European facilities that have constituted a hub of American power abroad for generations. Access to those European bases, along with European logistics and support, is essential to what America does now. This is a reality that American policymakers and office holders sought to internalize because our enemies already have. Just as precluding American massing becomes imperative for them, so too does denial of American access through the weakening of alliances or other means. Expect efforts to fracture and disperse those alliances to accelerate. Even if every quarter of American politics does not understand our alliance structure to be a benefit to America, every corner of Russia and China does. The consequences here will unfold in ways visible and invisible in the near future. This is the sort of thing that was not supposed to happen under Trump. But it is happening because, unlike the Ayatollah and his regime, the president learns and adapts. What has come to the fore is a set of realities that enduring American interests that drive his action now, along with his unique preference for cutting the Gordian knot, have. There will be conversations about the Washington consequences of all of this, not least in how the edifice of restrainers, despite feeling themselves at a historic apogee of Beltway influence, failed to prevent this outcome. In fairness, they may note that they may well stand vindicated in a decade's time. One factor is, however, defeated and deservedly so. It is the squalid chorus of anti-Semites who have emerged from left and right in recent years under the guise of anti-Zionism or having the conversation we need to have about Israel. Here's a conversation starter for them. At this very moment, American men and women are in harm's way, waging war against one of America's cruelest and most implacable enemies. With them as our allies, our friends, and now our brothers in arms, the Israelis. This is a fact that ought to carry finality. We are at war, and in the skies above Iran, it is the Stars and Stripes and the Star of David together fighting for you and me. That's my friend Josh Trevino. If you text Eric to 33777, you'll get the show notes, and it is in the show notes today. It is a must-read piece, and we should dwell further on these alliances. There are a lot of people, and it was at one time an irony, I guess, that J.D. Vance was one of the loud voices for isolationism. He comes from an area of Ohio that is pretty supportive of isolationism. He has embraced it, wanting to pull the United States back from the world. There are those in his orbit who have essentially wanted to build up a militarized wall in the Western Hemisphere and let China and Russia fight over the spoils of the rest of the world. And it is now J.D. Vance who has repeatedly opposed military engagement in the Middle East, including to destabilize Iran, and has repeatedly opposed helping the Ukrainians, who is now standing shoulder to shoulder with the President of the United States in support of the president's goals that include regime change in Iran. Although they're not saying regime change, they want the Iranian people to do it themselves without American boots on the ground. Tucker Carlson is now out there blasting our attack on Iran. He's joining the progressives in this country who hate America first, who blame America first. One of the common ties of all of these people has been to upend the post-World War order. One of the ways they have done that, and it's very important that you understand this, one of the ways people like Tucker Carlson and back in the day, J.D. Vance, although less so now, but Tucker Carlson and others have tried to undermine the Western world order led by the United States is to play on your ignorance of the liberal world order. When you hear liberal, you connect it to the connotation of American progressivism or liberalism, and that's not actually what the liberal world order is. The liberal world order is versus the illiberal world order, that is the authoritarian dictators of the world. The Chinese, the Russians, the Soviets before them, the Iranians, the North Koreans, the Venezuelans are illiberal. They run autocracies, totalitarian regimes. The liberal world order means democracy, Western-style democracy, where the voters vote. It never had anything to do with progressivism, but these people waging a belief that you are stupid maligned the liberal world order to mean, well, progressive politics of American leftists, and that's not actually what it ever meant, but they've relied on your ignorance to embrace that. What it actually means is that after World War II, with Europe in ruin and Asia in ruin, the United States was the dominant player in the world, the hegemon, and the Western world embraced the American liberal world order of democracy and our republic and our First Amendment rights and the like to basically be in charge of the world. The old world giving to the new. And the Americans have led for quite a while until very recently after the Iraq War, the Afghan War. We got very tired of leading, and there are voices, loud voices in the United States that want us to go back to sleep and say, you guys, y'all go take care of the world now. We're done. What they hope you don't know, and many of you do not know, is that the world order is essentially based on American control of it. And if we walk away from it, the whole thing goes kablooey, which is what we've been seeing. Not only that, the world order is premised on the United States being in charge of our banking systems and other systems in the world. Most banking transactions are conducted in dollars. We get the best exchange rate in the world globally because everything is done in American dollars. We can travel to more countries than most other countries because so many of the countries do business through the United States. Trade is conducted in dollars. It benefits the United States. While we have been shocked and appalled at the inflation in the United States, the rest of the world has experienced even higher inflation because since the world trades in dollars, we get protective benefits in the world economy that other nations don't. And along the way, one of the things that has happened is we've established military bases around the world based on our alliances to be able to project American power around the world. One of those has been the Chagos Islands. Now, for those of you who don't know where this is, it's an archipelago in the Maldives, south of the Maldives, and we have military operations on an island atoll called Diego Garcia. The British actually have this territory, but the left in Britain has been working for years to give away all of the British Empire in the name of anti-colonialism, and they want to give away the Chagos Islands to natives who are allied with China. Marco Rubio and the president of the United States originally came in and agreed that they would be okay with giving away Diego Garcia as long as we got to have our military base there. They have come to realize that the Chinese, once the British gave up control, would essentially push us out. Now, where is Diego Garcia? It is an atoll in the Indian Ocean, south of India, in the middle of nowhere. But we can launch aircraft and our fleet there and project anywhere around the Indian Ocean. Africa to the east, Southeast Asia to the west, the Indian subcontinent to the north, Antarctica in the south if we need to. We also have expansive military operations in the Pacific that rely on, for example, the Japanese, the Taiwanese, the Philippines, the Vietnamese, and elsewhere. Think about this. The Vietnamese communists would prefer to be allies with the United States than with China. The Chinese, through their Belt and Road Initiative, has tried to build goodwill throughout Southeast Asia, South America, and Africa, and it's falling apart as they give loans to countries that can't repay them. Those countries default on their loans, and China takes their territory from them. It's not going over well, particularly now because of our restrictions on oil and natural gas to China. The Chinese are in a depression. Everyone else in the world has inflation. China has deflation. They're in a depression. Their economy is not doing well, and we're now bringing pressure to bear on them. So what the Chinese response is to try to turn local governments around the world against us to push us out of military locations like Diego Garcia. Our alliances are crucial. There are people within the Trump administration and voices on the outside who want us to treat our allies terribly. In fact, some of the response we're seeing from some of our NATO allies right now being less inclined to help us come from how we've treated them in the last couple of years, including Denmark with the issue of Greenland. But the Israelis are showing we still have strong allies. The Israelis are perhaps our best ally. Alliances matter. Our bases in Eastern Europe, in Turkey, in the Middle East, they've come into play here for this. Diego Garcia matters greatly for our ability to project power. Our alliances with Japan and Australia are coming in handy here. The Japanese are the greatest strategic rival to China in Asia. They are our friends, and they benefit greatly from what's happening right now. The Japanese are engaged in a military buildup with the United States. The Philippines right now are engaged in a military buildup in the northern Philippine Islands with the United States to be able to protect Taiwan should China invade. And China right now has got to be looking at the American capabilities in destabilizing Iran without boots on the ground, worrying greatly about what would happen. The only thing that's saving them right now are complaints about the American supply chain. We've got to rebuild domestically our supply chain to be able to build back up military arms, and the Trump administration is working hard on that. What we see, however, is that American allies are part of our strength, and we should be taking our alliances seriously. 877-973-7425 is the phone number should you wish to be on the program. There is currently, as I'm talking, a situation in Dallas, Texas, with police reported at a building where there are allegedly explosives. We don't have any data beyond that right now. This is a situation we're keeping our eye on. Right now, also what you need to see is a massive amount of propaganda being circulated on social media, particularly on Twitter. For example, this is a person whose name I cannot pronounce, showing video of a Chinese jamming system disabling U.S. fighter jets' radar systems, causing U.S. and Israeli fighter jets to be hit by Iranian air defense systems, even as far as Kuwait, with Iran exceeding all expectations. What you probably wouldn't know if you didn't know anything about this is this guy is based in South Africa, is a Chinese propagandist, and is showing video footage from multiple years ago. We also know that it was the Kuwaitis who accidentally shot down the American fighter jets and not the Chinese. What's so notable is that the Chinese provided radar to both the Venezuelans and to the Iranians that was sold as being able to detect American stealth aircraft, from the B-2 stealth bomber to the F-35 and the F-22. And it's failed in all cases. We now have air superiority over Iran, and we have blown up all of the Chinese stealth radar detectors. That's how bad the Chinese technology is. Now, the Chinese will be able to learn from this. But what we can learn is that a lot of what we've been told about Chinese technology is actually garbage. And the Chinese are not exactly able to handle what we're throwing at them through their proxies. Now, you should handle hot water in your house so that you don't run out of it, and you can do that by going to Renai. Go to TalkingTankless.com and yank your tank out of your house and put in a tankless water heater like we did at our house. In my present house, I'm actually broadcasting from the bunker today in my home studio, and we've got forever hot water thanks to Renai in our house, and you can too. You can upgrade your tankless or your tank water heater to a tankless water heater from Renai. As long as you got gas, you can have hot water forever. Go to TalkingTankless.com. That's the website they set up for you to find out. In fact, there's a button. If you go to TalkingTankless.com, there's a button. You can talk to a Renai Pro about swapping out your tank of a water heater. Our power bill went down. We had electric water heaters in our house. The power bill went down when we switched them to the single tankless water. We had two small electric water heaters in the house, one for upstairs, one for downstairs. We got rid of them for a single tankless water heater from Renai that is less than half the size of the water tanks, and we're never out of hot water now. TalkingTankless.com. TalkingTankless.com. Check out Renai's tankless water heaters. Put them in your current house or a new house. TalkingTankless.com. Greetings. Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here. The phone number is 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, I would be very, very happy to have you with me. While we are focusing on the situation in Iran, I do think we also need to focus on the American left, which is having a bit of a moment. We've got horseshoe theory in play here, where the far right and the far left are allied against Donald Trump and the United States going into Iran with the American military. It's interesting. For example, Senator Chris Murphy, progressive from Connecticut, is out attacking the Trump administration's motive. Senator Jeanne Shaheen is trying to claim this is all tied to affordability.
We learned overnight that.
Yep. Hang on a second. Let me rearrange the audio here. Senator Shaheen, of course, looks to be the makings of the current talking point for the Democratic Party about what's happening. They very much want to blame Donald Trump for Iran driving up the cost of living.
We learned overnight that 3 F-15 fighter jets were shot down by Kuwaiti air defense, friendly fire apparently. Here's some video right now of one of those crashes apparently. Luckily, we are told that none of the pilots, none of the people on board were killed. They all managed to eject safely. But the F-15 here, by some estimates, I've seen estimates that they cost $30 million a piece all the way up to $100 million a piece. It just gets to the issue of the cost of this conflict. What will Congress's role be? Or should it be, do you think, in overseeing that aspect of it?
Well, there's a reason why our founding fathers, when they established the Constitution, gave Congress the ability to declare war, because they didn't want one individual in the leader of the country to have that authority. And so that's why Congress has this power. We're going to have a war powers resolution before the Senate this week. So we'll see how Congress votes. But as you point out, one thing that hasn't been explained yet to the American people is what is the cost of this war going to be? We already know that gas prices are going to go up. The American people are already concerned about cost of living and how the administration is addressing that. And what we've heard from the president is more wars, more conflicts, no effort to address the cost of living.
You know, they can't be like, for example, John Fetterman, who is cheering on this effort to destabilize the regime. That they've got to do what they can to attack. That they don't want to say anything nice about the president. Jake Oshensloss, who is one of the Kennedy heirs, actually on television on CNN, was talking about a friend of his who lives in Israel, who is flummoxed by Americans not supporting the effort. If you got my morning piece, I documented a bunch of Americans from Mayor Mamdani to a city councilman in Indianapolis, Indiana, to Islamic clerics inside the United States and other progressive agitators who are calling for the end of the United States. Cliff Connolly is a leader of the Democratic Socialists of America, and he put this up on Twitter. Quote, "The duty of every U.S. socialist is to make sure it ends in our government's defeat. May God protect the people of Iran, and may God, we'll just say, darn the Trump administration." Jesse Brown is a city councilman in Indianapolis who responded to the tweet, "Amen." The Democratic Socialists of America, you should know, are Mayor Mamdani's party in New York City, and they have taken a stridently pro-China position and have been meeting with Chinese Communist Party operatives in the United States to seed discord about American imperialism. Manolo de los Santos is the executive director of the People's Forum. He is a far-left agitator, a defender of Cuba. He's actually marched in the streets of New York with the current communist leader of Cuba in defense of Cuba. And he is declaring the United States a rogue state and wants an anti-imperialist struggle to bring down the United States. That's an American citizen. Kala Walsh was a campaign advisor, campaign worker for Elizabeth Warren. This is her tweet: "The only real justice for Imam Khamenei and for all the martyrs will be the total and complete dismantling of the United States and Israel." That person worked for Elizabeth Warren. Students for Justice in Palestine at the University of Chicago celebrated Iran striking an American base in Bahrain. Columbia University's apartheid and divestment group has tweeted out "Death to America" in Persian. Columbia University's come out and said, hey, they're no relation to anybody on our campus, until someone pointed out all the faculty members at Columbia University that claimed to be part of the group. The Women's March, remember the Women's March, the progressive group that marched on Washington for Donald Trump's first election? They're out mourning the loss of the Ayatollah Khamenei. A college professor at Henry Ford Community College in Dearborn, Michigan, Ali Akbar Sadid, is declaring that he's with the martyred Sayyid Ali Khamenei. and that he will teach his ways and his ideology to his children. I want to compare this to someone writing from inside Tehran. In Tehran, people sneak in Starlight or Starlink, Elon Musk's internet systems, and they also are able to sneak in, they smuggle in VPN systems. A virtual private network connects you to the internet and routes you to another country so you can get your message out. This is a confirmed Iranian citizen inside Tehran right now. I'm writing this through a connection so small it feels like a crack in the window. 99% of my country cannot get online. That's why you're not seeing videos or images from the inside. In Tehran and Karaj, every time people hear an explosion, they cheer from their windows and rooftops. They chant slogans. They celebrate because another terrorist base of the regime has been hit. I'm sure the rest of Iran is the same. To all honorable Iranians abroad, be our voice, louder and more decisive than ever. Take to the streets and flood the internet with one clear demand. Trump, do not stop the attacks. Right now, every mosque and religious gathering hall has been turned into a military base for the IRGC and repression forces. At Tehran's Masala, dozens of repressive vehicles are parked and being prepared. These are no longer religious sites. They are active military bases. Bomb them. The people of Iran do not want these places anymore. This has nothing to do with religion. They have become fortresses of terror and must be destroyed. Also strike the homes of the reformists. They are the main anti-Israel and anti-American operators inside the regime. My connection is too slow to push this properly, so please tag everyone you can. We will take to the streets at the right moment. We will win. Long live Iran. In the streets of the United States, American progressive activists are denouncing Donald Trump's actions, and in the streets of Iran, they are begging him to bomb more, bomb harder, blow up the mosques, and destroy the regime. The president says this is not about regime change. This is about moving to a new regime. This is not about regime change. This is about something else. This is the Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth.
President Trump has also been very consistent. Crazy regimes like Iran, hell-bent on prophetic Islamist delusions, cannot have nuclear weapons. It's common sense. Many have said it, but it takes guts to actually enforce it, and our president has guts. Iran's stubborn and self-evident nuclear pursuits, their targeting of global shipping lanes, and their swelling arsenal of ballistic missiles and killer drones are no longer tolerable risks. Iran was building powerful missiles and drones to create a conventional shield for their nuclear blackmail ambitions. Let me say that again. A conventional shield for their nuclear blackmail ambitions. Our bases, our people, our allies, all in their crosshairs. Iran had a conventional gun to our head as they tried to lie their way to a nuclear bomb. It almost worked under Obama and his terrible deal, but not under this president. Turns out the regime who chanted death to America and death to Israel was gifted death from America and death from Israel. This is not a so-called regime change war, but the regime sure did change, and the world is better off for it.
He's right. We don't know what we're going to get out of this. And listen, there is strategic ambiguity in what Donald Trump does. This is Donald Trump's pattern. I want to play you this someone put together. I had to bleep it out,
to
though.
Iran?
Don't.
What is your message to Iran in this moment?
Don't.
I'm going to bomb the shit of them. It's true. I don't care. I don't care.
When asked what their position on Iran was when it came to dealing with Israel and the Middle Eastern crisis after October 7th, Kamala Harris and Joe Biden said, don't do anything. President Trump says, I'm going to bomb the poop out of them. I don't care. Donald Trump has been pretty consistent on this. An interview was circulated by David Brody from CBN from 1980 after the fall of the Shah, where Donald Trump urged the blowing up of the Iranian regime. He's been pretty consistent. I recognize there are real concerns about the war effort, how long it will last, our munitions. I do find it very interesting that a whole lot of the people are saying, what about China? What about China? What if we use up all of our weapons? We won't be able to deal with Taiwan. And these are the same people who have never wanted to deal with Taiwan. They're just moving goalposts. I recognize Congress needs to play an oversight role, but I also recognize that many of the Democrats who are screaming about congressional authorization were fine with Barack Obama going into Libya and destabilizing that regime and turning it over to terrorists and having Benghazi happen. Right now, Code Pink is attacking the American military for opening fire on Pakistanis who are attempting to storm the American embassy there. American Marines and security personnel opened fire and killed 24 Pakistanis who were trying to storm the embassy. Progressives said, oh, this is Trump's Benghazi, except Trump's Marines killed the people who were trying to take over the embassy, where Barack Obama's and Hillary Clinton's Benghazi caused the death of the American ambassador and a bunch of Americans because they refused to send help to Benghazi. The Blame America First crowd in the United States is vocal. It has taken over parts of the right. It is dominant on the left. It's even a significant force within the Democratic Party, and they are blaming the United States. Iran has been at war with the United States since 1979. The Iranian regime has killed Americans in Beirut, tortured and murdered the CIA bureau chief. They have bombed planes to kill Americans. They have bombed schools. They have killed people. They've attempted the assassination of the current president of the United States on multiple occasions. They have tried to disrupt American elections. They have taken on our allies. They have killed Israelis. They have killed Europeans. When they have done it with impunity, they have done it time and time again. And Donald Trump has finally stood up to them. The days of the Iranian regime have come to an end. They're now on their third Ayatollah in 72 hours. It is absolutely time to wipe out this regime. Mr. President, I don't expect you or want you to put boots on the ground in Iran. The Iranian people can do this for themselves. But, sir, keep bombing. Keep bombing. Allow the Arab partners to blow up the mosques in Iran. So it's Muslims blowing up mosques, not us. But blow up the mosques in Iran that are used as military headquarters. Blow up Iran so that the Kurds can come back in and take on the regime, and the Iranian people can rise up for democracy. Restore the Shah, not for an empire, but for him as a guiding force for democracy in Iran. He can unite the parties. There are ways for us to bring peace to the Middle East. The old talking points no longer work. The forever wars are not forever. The idea of risking a regional war here, it's not happening now. The region is on our side. The talking points we're hearing from so many people in the media who've used the same talking points for years, they no longer apply, and yet they can't adapt to the times. The people of the Middle East are in the streets cheering on the death of the Ayatollah. Iranians around the world are cheering on the death of the Ayatollah. Meanwhile, on CNN, the commentary is like, this could expand to a regional war. This could be something. It's already happened, and it's Iran that started it. And those Arab neighbors are now on the side of Israel against Iran. They can't keep up with what's happening, but we should. What's happening is that the people of Iran yearn for freedom. We should do what we can to allow them to take back their freedom, and that appears to be what the president is doing. More. Blow up more. Hello there, welcome. It is Eric Erickson here. 877-973-7425 is the phone number. Saeed, you're going to be up next. Welcome to the show, sir. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you, Eric. Good to talk to you again.
You too.
Listen, I'm from Iran. I was raised under Shah, and I came out in 82, 83, and we all wanted to go back to what he was. And we are all supporters of Israel and America.
Good. Now, can you explain to people that what you're saying it's not actually a fringe position in Iran, that the majority of the people that really do hate the regime?
Yeah, because it's a dictatorship. And if nobody has lived under dictatorship, they don't know how bad it is. They tell you what to wear, what to say, how to eat, everything. And we want to be free, just like before. So if they would give us a gun, we'll go back and fight. But right now, the situation is not good for that. So as soon as it cleared up, I think a lot of Iranian, they go back.
Yeah, I hear this from so many people say it. And for those who don't know, I mean, even here in Atlanta, there were Iranians celebrating in the streets this weekend over this. You've got to be a complete fool or a dupe for Iranian propaganda to not understand the majority of Iranians are opposed to the Iranian regime. That's how bad the situation is for them. They are the majority of the people. They are unarmed. The Iranian government essentially has biker gangs. I forget, Bajlis, I think is the name of them. And they're essentially biker gangs around the country. They most of them are motorcycles. They carry bats wrapped in barbed wire. They have access to arms that the Iranian people don't. And they will kill anyone who criticizes the regime, and they get away with it. This is a brutal, repressive regime, and the majority of the people are ready for it to be overthrown. And the president of the United States is hoping they'll take to the streets and do it themselves so we don't have to. And I hope they do too. Now, you want to overthrow your current computer regime because you're tired of your computers breaking down. Well, give Vision Computers a call and they can free you. Go to visioncomputers.com or call them at 404-COMPUTE. They can build you new computers. They can upgrade your existing computer. In fact, they can take your existing computer, as long as everything's Windows 11 compliant, and they can roll it over to a brand new updated machine that runs faster, better, is more stable, but everything's set up exactly like your old machine. And you get their just amazing IT customer service with it for free. Or you can just buy their IT package for your existing computers, $199 a year. You might save a little money if you mention Eric sent you. Call them at 404-COMPUTE. They can do this for your home. They can do it for your office, where you and all of your employees get the special number to call. Anytime they answer the phone, they navigate you through any problems or questions you have with your computer. 404-COMPUTE or visioncomputers.com. 404-COMPUTE or visioncomputers.com. Tell them Eric sent you. Let Vision give you peace of mind for your computers or give you new computers. 404-COMPUTE, visioncomputers.com. Anyone, any company nationwide.